Okay, so another video I'm doing tonight. Two tonight. Rarely do that. This video is about um, missed opportunities, I guess, in life. It's hard to, live life as it is. It's hard enough as it is, without feeling like, you're making bad decisions. And there's nothing more painful in life than knowing you've thrown opportunities away and then hearing people tell you don't throw your opportunities away. I was working at my job, and there's that Dave Matthews song that they play. They used to play it more. It hasn't been playing as much lately. Almost makes me wonder. It's a message from above. Probably not, but it's ants marching, and there's a lines about taking your chances and putting them away in a box until you die, and you never use your chances. And just hearing that makes me feel like shit. I know Dave Matthews is probably a decent dude, based on what I've read and things. He's probably not a bad guy, but um, you know I guess what is our obligation to make the most of our chances in life? It's like this idea. It hurts. It's even talking about it now. It's painful thinking about, all the chances I had that I never took action on. And I wonder, how much am I to blame for that, really? If I was a different person, would I have taken those same chances? Um, if I was a different person, if I wasn't afraid of rejection or, afraid of taking risk, um, you know, there are people that take risk and maybe some of them, maybe they live. It's kind of hard to know, what's better, like I work with some attractive girls, and I'm old at this point. These girls, I'd like to have a relationship with a young, pretty girl for once in my life. Obviously, I have opportunities even now to have relationships with girls that are, closer to my age and, not unattractive, but just not really, Basically, when you are shat on for most of your life, or at least you feel shat. I got shat on in junior high, and mostly junior high school. So really, I'm holding on to pain from a long time ago. There's no question about it. And I had plenty of opportunities to sleep with girls who were actually very attractive um, when I was younger, and for a variety of reasons, I didn't. Um, One was because these girls wanted to sleep with me before I knew who they were, and I always in my mind I wanted to get to know somebody before. I never wanted to sleep with anybody I didn't really know. Um, you know, that's not a limiting factor for most people, most dudes especially. But for me, I always thought that sex was sacred in a certain way. I don't know why. I'm not religious. I don't even particularly believe in God, but I guess I wanted to believe that, you should only have sex with somebody who you really loved. Because otherwise, I don't know, it's like I'm not religious, but it seems wrong to just sleep around with people, to use people like that. And some people are, probably be okay with being used, and they want to use other people, and they want to be used, but are those people mentally healthy? I don't know. Maybe some of them are, maybe some of them aren't. But for me personally, I didn't want to get involved with somebody who I thought it wasn't going to work out with, at least for, you know, uh, maybe marriage is a bit extreme, but, I didn't want to sleep with anybody that I wasn't going to end up with at least a long-term relationship with. So that's some of the chances right there. I had some girls that were interested in me, and they probably wanted to sleep with me, and some of them definitely did. One of them even invited me up to her room one time. on a cruise, um, and I said no. I had direct offers, but it was because I didn't really feel like I knew her. I want to know somebody, and this is the hard thing about about trying to form a relationship is people want to. It's like I liked it in the old days when you had to date somebody for a while before they'd put out. That was more my speed. These days it's like they give you the opportunity to sleep with them, and if you don't say yes, then they feel rejected and it's over. I just want to know somebody before I sleep with them. It doesn't seem like a high standard, but that's not how most girls operate these days. They just want to sleep with you first and get to know you later. The first thing they do is see how you are in bed, and then they decide based on that whether they want to pursue a relationship. And that does make sense when you think about it from a non-religious standpoint, because if you're going to have a successful relationship, then you better be compatible, in the bedroom. So, you know, if a girl's interested in a guy, I guess that's the first test, kind of. But I don't know. It doesn't feel romantic. It feels, very kind of. It's just it's. I think so much of why I haven't gotten involved has to do with um, why I never was open to the idea of just sleeping with a lot of people, was because I want to believe there's a God. I want to believe there's a reason for behaving ethically. And if there's no God and there's no reason for behaving ethically, if there's no reason to say no to sex, then most of our lives would just be sleeping around, right? I mean, there's no reason not to sleep around. There's no reason not to be a hedonist. I mean, who are you hurting, really? I mean, if you're breaking up with girls, then you're hurting them on that level, but you're not going to be that hurt if you haven't been with them for that long. And a lot of girls seem to stay in contact with guys that they were once in a relationship with and stay friends with them and still love them. And it's kind of like you'd think that I mean, some girls probably, if the breakup ends badly, maybe they'll shut a guy off for life, which is my sister's done that with some of the guys that she's been with that didn't work out. But it does seem like a lot of girls are willing to keep in contact with guys they've slept with, but weren't their soulmate or whatever you want to say. And so it's kind of like it doesn't seem like sleeping around is really that harmful necessarily, depending on the feelings involved with each individual thing. But it's kind of like, there's not a lot of, victim. It seems, especially when women are still willing to be friendly with guys, and it seems like women don't take it that hard if you don't want to have a relationship with them, as long as you let them know that early on in the relationship, and not like years after you've been dating them, obviously. So without God, without a reason to behave well, then to be chaste and to be discerning in who you sleep with, then we should just be sleeping with everybody all the time. Anybody anyone that we're interested in. And I don't know, you know, it seems like it's just plays into the unfairness once you get to that point again, because it's unfair that some people have so many opportunities and other people don't. And it's not based on merit, it's just based on, no, sometimes it's based on merit, but the merit is like, questionable merit. This guy's a corporate lawyer and he can sleep with tons of women. Is that fair? No, it's not. It goes back to life being unfair again. So it's like, if you acknowledge that there is no God and hedonism is all there is, the only thing that's worth doing in life, then you're also acknowledging that there will be no punishment for, you know, the the big shot douchebag who goes sleeping around with all these women. You're acknowledging that is, no matter, if you decide to choose that life of hedonism, then no matter what experiences you have, you know that they will be entirely eclipsed by people who are better looking or have more money or more talent or you know um, you know you're sort of, I guess, admitting defeat to people who have no scruples, admitting defeat to people who um, are narcissists and assholes, powerful people. You're sort of bowing down, saying, "Well, they'll. There is no, you know, life's all about getting all the selfish benefits you can for yourself, and then when you die, you'll have done well if you've maxed out your selfishness. That's really what it comes down to. And I can't jive with that. It's not a universe I want to exist in, where there's no reward for trying to do the right thing, and there's no consequences for doing the wrong thing. But the way the world looks certainly seems that way. Anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit. Basically, my point is, um, how much of the chances that we don't take are due to our own decisions versus, versus versus our circumstances, I guess. Um, you know, I would I have taken a lot more chances if I didn't have the issues I had in junior high school. If I wasn't totally made fun of and wasn't you know treated like crap. And is it my fault that I didn't recover from those things? Or I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that it's life is hard enough as it is. When you have people telling you don't miss your chances and make the most of your life and live your best life and all this kind of stuff. It just makes you feel worse about yourself because you feel like, well, I know I'm not living my best life. I know there's more I could be doing, but it's like, am I not living my best life you know because I'm a failure, or because I was, mentally trained to behave a certain way, and it's just a matter of that I don't want to break my training, um, or that I want to do what's right, and taking those chances sometimes doesn't feel right, or it doesn't feel like. And the other part about this I wanted to mention is that sometimes you take those chances and things aren't going to end up so well. Um, you know, there's a cute girl you like, and you decide, what the hell, I'll take the risk. I'll ask her out. I mean, the girls I work with, they're in their 20s. So you know, certainly, I mean, it's more likely that there'll be a negative scenario than a positive scenario coming out of that. I'm working with them, so if they reject me, um, then I have to see them and know that they don't like me. And it would be painful on that level, and it would be awkward. This makes the whole work situation awkward. So I feel obligated not to say anything because I don't want to make I don't want to have them be trapped with me in a work situation where um, they feel uncomfortable. Um, and even if it goes well, let's say amazingly that they do want to get to know you or whatever, they say, okay, let's hang out or whatever. What are the chances that it's going to go well long term? Really, people always say this, about people like me. Oh, you think of the worst case scenario always, but you know, you have to see what happens first. But when you think about the amount of successful relationships out there, is it surprising at all that our mind goes to the worst case scenario? how many people really meet their soulmate and are happy for the rest of their lives? Not many, you know. And if I were to take a chance with one of the pretty girls at work, and they were to accept, I mean, these girls, I don't really know these girls at all. So it would obviously be, the only attraction is on a purely superficial level at this point. And that's what it really. It's like, there's a chance that I could get along with them and that we could have a successful relationship, I suppose. But the chances are really pretty slim, generally, for a lot of reasons. At this point, for one, I'm old and they're young, so already you're putting them in a bad position where they're in their 20s, I'm in my 40s, in 10 years, I'm in my 50s, they're still in their 30s, they're still young. I'm getting to be, a guy doesn't want to go out and do anything anymore. I'm a fucking pill for them. So that's a problem. Um, and, you got the people who will say things, people will judge, oh, what the hell is you doing with that old dude or whatever. And chances that we would relate well are not high because, they're much further down the line than I am and they have different interests and have been through different things. More likely to be immature because they're younger. Won't be in the same headspace as I will. Um, and then you just have the fact that I live a selfish, not selfish, but I value my time, and it'd be hard to change my schedule. I'd have to start getting up early to hang out with my girlfriend because that's what she'd want to do. I like getting up when I get up. I like going to sleep when I go to sleep. I like having alone time. If the girl's clingy, then you want to have alone time. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with relationships, and more than half of them fail. And the ones that last, how many people are in these relationships where either the women decided they don't want to sleep with you anymore, because they're tired of it, or because they're already married, or they already have kids, or whatever, or how many times do you get in a situation where you find each other's, uh, idiosyncrasies that aren't so pleasant, and you have to start, living with those and dealing with those. I guess all I'm saying is it's like people act like it's always a huge missed opportunity when two people who are interested in each other don't connect. I think the reality of the matter is, maybe sometimes it's a missed opportunity, but more often than not, it's probably, you know, it probably doesn't make a huge amount of difference in the long run. I think for me, what's hard is that I've never had that experience at all. I'd like to have the experience. I'd like to have the experience of being in love. I don't, when I was younger, I kind of was hoping for the perfect type of experience with that, where I'd meet somebody, we'd love each other, we'd get married, and that would be it. We'd always be enough for each other. That obviously is super naive looking at it now because that happens so rarely, especially with young people. There are, I mean, every now and again, every once in a blue moon, you'll have a situation like that where you'll find your soulmate young and you won't leave. I know a couple of relationships that have worked out that way, but most relationships I know of are not that way. Most relationships I know of, people are either they're sexless marriages, or they break up, or um, you know I guess it's just the love part doesn't last. The love part only lasts so long. I guess what I want to experience the love part without experiencing the long term part, and that doesn't really jive with my whole wanting to do right by you know by what I guess is some influence from Christianity, saying I want to find the right woman and be with them forever. I mean that the most of those relationships that are like that probably are not, that you don't have a lot of time to get to know the person, obviously. Well, I mean, I guess you can't have a lot of time to get to know the person. But all I'm saying is that, the chances of finding a successful life partner, you know, before even sleeping with them is very slim. And with the way love is in the world today, hard to know people at all before you even sleep with them. And I guess you know there are opportunities being missed, and I guess for me, the opportunity would just be to see what it's like to be in love with somebody. I would like that just as a try. But then they tell you, well, don't get involved if you're not all right with yourself, because eventually, you'll put all your problems on the other person, and they'll run away from you. I mean, given the life that I've lived, the chances, it makes it even less likely that a relationship will work out because I have enough neurotic BS going on in my head in general that most people don't advise people like me to get involved in a relationship at all. But it's sad to be my age and losing the ability to attract younger women. I've almost entirely lost the ability to attract, girls under the age of 30. I mean, maybe if they're pushing 30, they would consider it. But, the girls that I work with that are pretty are mostly in their 20s, And, it's really not advisable for a huge age gap like this, especially for someone like me, and the chances that, that I'd be the man that these young girls would be looking for is also very slim, because I'm just not a confident guy. I'm not a guy who, has his life together, who's, I mean, by life together, I mean that I don't have a well-paying job, I couldn't buy a house, I couldn't afford to raise kids, all that kind of stuff. So, I guess the point I'm making is, don't feel too bad about wasting your opportunities. That's what I want to say. Mostly don't feel too bad about wasting your opportunities. It is sad that we don't take advantage of these opportunities, but also realize that for people like us, where things haven't really worked out, where we've kind of fell through the cracks, even if you took advantage of those opportunities, there's probably, I mean, they say this is how we rationalize these chances away. Oh, well, you never know unless you try, type of thing. But, you look at enough of the circumstances around you, you can see that relationships that are very strong, that work for the long term, are not a common thing at all. And, there are probably other opportunities you could be more, you should be more upset about missing than love opportunities, because, love is finding real love in the world today is not an easy task, and the odds are, I think, against you for the most part. If you had an investment option, something like that, or something that, I don't know, even those things may not pay off either. But I guess I'm just tired of being told I'm wasting my chances and that I should, it's hard to feel like you're wasting your chances. I know I have wasted chances, but the question is, am I better off or worse off for having wasted them? And I don't think there's a definitive answer to that question. And the biggest problem with it is you have to, kind of ponder, well, what if I did the other thing? What if I took advantage of those opportunities? Took advantage. You don't know what that really means in the long run. And on one level, I'm sad that I didn't, take a risk and sleep with somebody who was, I had chances to sleep with these girls, and I didn't, because I wanted to know who they were, and I never got that opportunity. I think I always thought that maybe I was going to get a chance, but you don't get that chance. I never got that chance, and I don't know. I think it's just sad that things couldn't have kind of worked out. I just wanted to make a friend first, and then have that turn to, have somebody who I knew, I appreciated, and then thought, okay, this could be love, But it doesn't work that way, and I don't know. I guess, I mean, maybe, I guess I wouldn't say, I'm not saying don't take chances at all. If you feel like it, do. If you feel like something could work out, go ahead, take the chance. I'm not trying to say don't take your chances, but also don't feel bad if you don't, because the world is imperfect. Your chances as golden as they seem. If things were to work out, don't always work out so well in the long term. And I don't know. I mean, I may be saying no to a major experience in life, which is being loved, which is sad. But it comes with its own being loved comes with its own risks, pitfalls, and things like that. And I'd like to have it happen once, but if it doesn't, people shouldn't shame me for making the choices that I did because you know I don't know. You never know how it would have turned out in the end, and maybe that's better than knowing it would turn out bad.